Hello and welcome to Helluva Podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Audie. The O is silent.
And today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 2.
Loo Loo Land!
Yes.
Yay.
Actually should maybe pull up the notes. That might be helpful.
That might be helpful.
So
we've got a lot to say.
A lot. We've got 4 pages of notes.
Yeah, and we just did a whole deep dive, not even related to this episode, but we just spent, 45 minutes just researching Hell lore?
A lot more than 45
A lot more than
minutes.
45 minutes? Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be sprinkled in here a little bit, mostly in a couple of other episodes, though I think Aussies and
Harvest Moon Festival, yeah.
But yeah, so look out for all of that. We did this episode very much scene by scene and analysis because there's so much happening the whole time.
In each scene.
So the first scene we have is the opening scene where we see Stella and Stolas sleeping. And I think this says a lot.
It opens on this, frame of them in bed, and there's already so much. So much, yeah.
Because Stolas is sleeping, on his back, face up. Straight up, just, laying there, staring.
Like a corpse.
Yeah, like a corpse. He only has a blanket on his legs, not even really. And then Stella's, hogging the blanket, rolled over. Her pillow is turned away from him.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about... I know we knew their dynamic wasn't good, but,
Yeah. It's especially powerful rewatching it back. And realizing, oh, yeah, she sucks.
Also, is her crown, part of her, or does she wear that to sleep?
Does she have it on in her sleep?
I believe so. I could be remembering wrong, but... Let's...
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up.
Yeah.
But I believe she has it on. But I really could be wrong. I might just be picturing Stella with her crown at all times.
Which is also kind of telling if you think about it. But let me take a looky. And then... sorry, I'm just trying to say words to...
Yeah, no, you're good. I can bring up the next
Yeah.
topic. The next thing is that... So, in that regard, Stolas is sleeping very, as he is sleeping like a corpse, so he's probably not sleeping the most peacefully, but he's still, asleep. And that makes me think that, this whole, him having no blanket and, not being comfortable in bed is, an every night occurrence, which is
Holy
sad.
fucking shit. So, sorry, we were just looking at, the sigils for all of the members of the Goetia family, and the Stolas sigil is on the side of his castle.
Oh.
And, it's, everywhere.
That's super cool.
Which is crazy. Sorry, that doesn't really mean anything. It's just a thing.
No, that's really cool.
Anyway,
we'll be talking about those more, but basically, do you want to explain what those are a little bit?
Yeah, so she's not sleeping with her crown, by the way. There are 72 members of the Ars Goetia, or the Heirs Goetia, Stolas being one of them. And they all have, a different sigil that goes along with them, and the sigils are sort of, the equivalent of a signature, and it's, a picture representation of, their true name, in a way. And they're kind of, complex designs. I can't really explain them, but if you just Google, the Goetia sigils, they'll come up, and you can look for Stolas, you can look for Andrelphus, who's mentioned later on, who we haven't met yet, but that's interesting.
I think we're meeting him in this next season, yes?
In this season, I believe, yeah. And then there's also Paimon, who's Stolas' dad. His is there. And Ozzy, Asmodeus, strangely enough. Which is interesting because I don't think any of the other... Well, do we know any of the other deadly sins yet? We know Mammon?
Yeah.
I don't think he was on there, though. And
I wasn't looking for him. He might have been.
He might have been. I didn't see him. Yeah, so that's interesting that Asmodeus is on there. Especially since Asmodeus is, the one that we've met so far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
And then the other thing about this scene, pedaling back a little bit, was when Octavia's, calling for her parents. First of all, she calls for her mom first, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. Because,
we have more analysis later on that shows that she definitely is closer and loves Stolas more than Stella. But she calls for her mom first, which I think is really interesting. But then Stolas is Via's calling or Octavia's calling, and Stella is you go do it or whatever.
Yeah,
and he doesn't even hesitate, which gives me 2 things. 1, he loves her so much. 2, I don't think Stella ever goes and helps.
No. I think he even does a little sigh, like,
yeah.
Okay. Not like that much, but yeah. Also, sorry, I was paused on this frame trying to see if Stella has a crown, I noticed that there were some gay-ass fucking portraits of Stolas in the background.
Those are so fruity, oh my god.
So fruity. And also it's just him in these portraits, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think we only have one, like, couple portrait of them that we've seen.
Yeah, two. Because there's the one in the hallway where they look pissed off at each other, and then there's the Loo Loo Land one, which is in this episode.
Yeah, but that's not a portrait of just them two. Isn't little baby Octavia in that?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Also, I guess this like, flashback would be not too long after they got married. I mean, it'd be a few years, because Octavia is, like, 5 or so.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they only got married a little bit before that, because they only got married to have the kid.
Yes. Yeah, I would assume that as well.
Yeah, so it makes sense that there'd still be, at least at this time, not a lot of... Well, no, because they'd be together for at least 5 years. And you'd think married couples would have more pictures together, so...
Also, we don't see another couple picture of them throughout the whole time when it's modern time.
Yeah.
Like, the hallway shots that we see are modern time, because that's when Blitz is there, right?
Yeah, like that's the 25 years later.
Yeah, yes. Semi-modern.
Yeah.
Modern enough.
Yes.
The next thing is about Octavia in her dream. I know you were going crazy about this if you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, so the whole reason Octavia calls Stolas into her room is because she had a bad dream about Stolas, like, disappearing or, like, being gone, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's something along the lines of, like, I was...
looking for you everywhere.
Yeah, throughout the whole castle.
I couldn't find you. Yeah, which is... one, they do a parallel... not to get way ahead, but they, like, do a parallel to this, like, at the end of the episode. Yes. Like, with the whole, like, are you gonna run off with him and go away where I can't find you? Like, that's definitely, like, tying the episode full circle, but knowing what we know about how Stolas his ass is getting kidnapped next episode.
Yeah.
Like, season 2, episode 4, that is canonically happening. I think just... the lyrics of You Will Be Okay, which we will get into, but, like, it's all very foreshadowy of Stolas, like, actually disappearing.
Yeah. And
something happening to him. So, yeah. And all of this being brought up in episode 2 makes me feel a little crazy. Especially considering that in episode 1 was the whole, like, maybe a mob family thing. And then season 2, episode 3 is when... that came back around.
You're so right.
So wait, so what's episode 3? That's with Veronica? And that's when they first mentioned Barbie Wire.
Yeah.
So do we think
we know
the next
for a
one
fact
will
that
be...
Barbie Wire is coming back.
Yeah.
You just cracked the code.
I just cracked the code. What's episode 4? Cherub? No one gives a fuck.
It's gonna be another filler.
The Cherubs come back. That's probably all it's gonna be.
Oh yeah, I forgot they're coming back.
Yeah. Harvest Moon Festival. That's with Stryker, but that's also... yeah. Oh, Millie's parents, maybe.
Millie backstory?
We're just predicting all of season 2, don't mind us.
Yeah.
And I think that would probably take us to the end of season 2 by that point.
Yeah, probably. Maybe throw in a little episode there that's making more chaos, because that would be a busy pop thing to do.
Yeah.
Following what you were saying about the dream, though,
yes.
I think it's very telling that Octavia's nightmare was about losing Stolas. There's no mention of her mom.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, she's afraid of losing him, and she loves him the most, and things like that. And that's from very early childhood.
And also do you want to talk about the drawings on her?
Yeah. There's, on her wall, there's 3 drawings that we see, and then the little calendar. One is of their house, their castle, which is so cute. And then one is of her and Stolas holding hands.
Yeah.
And I think the other one's like stars or something like that.
Yeah, it's just so cute.
But again, no Stella.
No Stella. None.
So she just loves, like, they just love each other so much.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really big parallel between the teenager and Stolas.
Yeah, because as a teenager, she still does not care for Stella.
Yeah.
Like, she never mentions her mom, doesn't care.
But she hates Stolas.
Yeah.
It seems.
And I think that makes sense, because she would be angry at him for, like, I guess, breaking her trust in a sense. Like, if he upset her, that would hurt a lot more than her mom upsetting her.
Yeah.
Because she cares about him. Doesn't necessarily care about her.
I'm also very willing to bet that Stella's, like, ranted to her about her, like, divorce and the issues. Yeah. And so she probably just doesn't see Stolas' side of it, and so she's like, I think that's where she probably got the "Are you gonna run away with him" thing.
Yeah, oh my god.
Because I don't see her just, like, I guess, like, that would make sense, but I see that being more, like, that seems more like fed words.
Yeah.
Than her natural.
No, that's so smart, yeah. Like, Stella makes me so angry.
Me too.
Stella just, like, fucking, like, rambling and talking shit about Stolas to Octavia, and like, I bet he's gonna run off with that imp and leave us, and Octavia's like, he's gonna do what?
He's like, he's gonna leave us?
He's gonna leave us? Oh my god, yeah.
And I mean, why do you think she listens to music all the time?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to talk to anyone. Yeah. I get that that's because they fight, but I mean, that seemed to be, like, she had that music locked and ready.
Yeah.
So it feels like, even before the cheating thing, which it didn't seem like they like verbally fought a lot, but that being said, it does seem like she's hit him before.
Yes.
In that one scene.
One
scene TM.
That one scene TM. The circus, if you don't know what we're talking about, after the gay little ballad, which is not what that song is called.
Is it called Stolas Sings?
I think it's called Stolas Sings.
We always call it Owl in a Cage.
Owl in a Cage, the gay little ballad. No, but I wonder if Stella hitting him was a thing that happened before she found out he cheated, or if that started after she found out he cheated.
I want to know too, and also in that case, if it was a before thing, I want to know what Octavia's seen.
Yeah.
'Cause, like, I feel like she wouldn't hate her. Like, if that was a reoccurring thing, I feel like she wouldn't have as much strong feelings against her dad.
Yeah. Unless she just thought it was normal.
That's true.
But even then, I feel like she wouldn't want to see her dad get hurt.
Yeah, but then even if she thinks it's normal, leading off of that, what has Octavia experienced from her mother? Yeah. This is all stuff we don't have any backing for, so I feel like we shouldn't go get too into it. But there's a lot of possibilities there, I think. And I would love to have more, like, I know that we have, like, Octavia's backstory a little bit, but I'd love to have, like, her actual interpersonal backstory.
Yes.
Because the backstory that we have for her is honestly more Stolas based. I would love to have, like, an Octavia based.
I agree. Yeah. I think that the deeper we get into this show, the more we're going to say things that have no backing to them.
Yeah, it's just on vibes.
We have some things that it's like, we base it on evidence. It is very much like a headcanon, but it's based on evidence. But then we base other things on those headcanons, and that's where it gets a little fuzzy. So
sometimes it's just for fun.
Yeah.
Some of our things are very thorough and deep and actually a thing, and some are not.
And sometimes they're deep and thorough, but they mean nothing. Yeah. So bear with us.
Yeah.
We're just here to have a good time. Anyway, I think we should get into the song.
Yeah. The first note we have on this is, do they literally go into space? With, like, 7 question marks? Which seems crazy, but I can't think of another thing that's happening in that scene.
Yeah, because it's
like 2 a.m. and he's just like, all right, let's go to space.
If they just, like, cut to them in space, I'd think, like, okay, this is just for the purpose of animation. But the fact that he, like, brings the grimoire, does the little spell, opens up a little portal, I think they legitimately just go into space.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Also, I wanna note that when I first watched this scene, like, the first time I watched this show, this was the first scene that made me go, like, oh, this show's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like, the first episode was fun, the pilot was, whatever, I was having a good time, but this fucking song made me go, oh, this is good.
Yeah. I think I did something similar with it later on in this. Like, I think I was like, that song was really good, but then, which we're gonna get to this later, but with the Fizz stuff, which you didn't even think, I remember you didn't have thoughts about them being romantically involved, and then I was like, they definitely. Like, I was talking about, I was like, I feel like they had this kind of relationship, and you were like, what? They didn't date. And I was like, wait, they definitely did. But it's stuff later in this that I was like, oh my god, wait.
Yeah.
The lore?
Yeah. This episode is one that's really good to revisit.
Yeah.
The first 2. All of them. It's such a rewatchable show.
It really
I really
is.
like this episode in retrospect, though. Like, it was good the first time, and now it's like, oh.
Yeah. And it's got great, like, funny lines. It's just good. Really well done. The first thing I have in the lyrics of the song is not technically the lyrics. It's the thing that he says before he starts singing. And it's, no matter what happens to me, I will never be far away from my special little starfire. And every time he fucking says that, because he says it, like, through a yawn, too. Like, he just says this regularly.
Yeah.
It makes me so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking sweet and cute.
It's so sweet. Yeah. Father-child relationship.
Parent-child.
Parent-child relationship.
Father-child, yeah, oh my god.
Make us crazy, if you can't tell, for totally normal reasons.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're so
normal.
We're not in therapy or anything.
I'm not.
We shouldn't be in therapy or anything.
Speak for your fucking self. I'm like Blitz. I'm on fucking BetterHelp. That's a lie. I'm not on BetterHelp.
Not even there.
No. Anyway, should we just go? I know we wrote a lot of notes and we probably hit most of the lyrics anyway, but should we just go like line by line through the song?
That's basically what the notes are. Honestly.
Okay, cool.
It's like section by section. There's a couple of things that are resaid, so I don't say them again. But
yeah,
yeah, you can start us off if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So, the first verse, and by the way, I started analyzing the musical composition of this song. I didn't get through the whole thing. I got up to like the first chorus basically, but just I'm not musically knowledgeable enough to really understand like, you know, the meaning of each chord change or whatever. I was taking note of like major and minor chords for the most part. I did write down the specific chords, but like
there's the fucking
B minor 7 diminished. No, B minor 7 at 11. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was in there somewhere. I think. I'm not even entirely sure. It was just the only chord I could find that made any fucking sense. But yeah. Anyway, so anyway, lyrically.
I skipped most of the first verse because like it sets the scene, but at the same time it kind of is just talking about how he's depressed, essentially.
That's true. I don't know. I really like the lyrics. They're very pretty.
They are. This is like one of those songs, and like some of the songs in here are very well written, but this one's so
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though there are some lyrics in the first verse that make me just like from how specific they are.
Yeah.
Like they're very specific. Setup, like the constellation's gone so soon. I don't know. It raises some questions. But yeah, it's mostly like the little section after that where it's like I used to think that I was bold. I used to think love would be fun. Which, oh yeah, you wrote something in these notes that makes me fucking crazy. I want to know when he thought love would be fun. Like, how far back are we going? Are we talking when he was like a little kid?
Before the arranged marriage, yeah.
Or are we talking like in his teenage years he started to imagine a life for himself with like another man?
Yep, that's what I wrote in the notes.
Yeah, that's what made me feel crazy. This poor man's hope has been completely diminished.
Yeah, and then that makes me wonder if it is in the teenage years. Like, did he have hope, and where did that come from, and how did that get ruined?
Yeah,
like, was it familial? Like, what happened?
And it wouldn't have been Blitz related because he doesn't see Blitz again after that time when they're kids.
Yeah, so
it would have been someone else that like he like had a thing for or whatever, and then
or even just like, because it's decently modernly set, so he probably found out like how queer people live in the world. Yeah. And he was like, wait, I can do that. And I can be happy and I don't have to have this arranged marriage and all this, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah. I wonder if he, as he got older, he tried to fight back against his father about the arranged marriage, and then it didn't go well. And like maybe he thought it was gonna go well for whatever reason, and then it didn't.
Yeah. Or maybe even he was like, you know what, this is an arranged marriage, so it's just gonna like even if he knew he wasn't gonna love her, or maybe he didn't know he was queer, like anything. Oh yeah, he might have just thought like, I'm gonna be able to spend my life with someone and it's gonna be good. Yeah. And then he got abused the whole time.
This is totally going into headcanon territory, but I think it's possible that like teenage year Stolas like coming up to the time that the arranged marriage will be happening, but not yet, he, like, realizes that he is a homosexual man. And then, for whatever reason, he thinks that if he tells his dad will, like, be okay with it. Because I feel like his dad very much is, like, abusive and, like, neglectful, but he tries to make it seem like he cares. Like, the whole, quote-unquote, taking him to the circus, which he doesn't even go with him. Yeah. Like, so I feel like his dad maybe does something to lead him to believe that it'll be okay, and then he's like, Dad, I don't want to marry this woman, I'm gay, and then it is not good. I think it very clearly, it could have been something along those lines also.
I definitely agree with that. I think it's probably one or the other. Either he didn't, like, realize he was queer and he thought that the relationship was going to be really good, or that. Yeah. Also, though, it's super headcanon, probably not realistic, given, like, stuff we're going to talk about later in this episode, with, like, the royal family and things. But I just fucking love the idea of him having a silly little, like, boyfriend at, like, 15, 16. I don't think it's realistic.
I would like to imagine that he had, like, a little rebellious era where he was sneaking out of the castle and smooching boys and learning things about himself. Yeah. I really hope he had that.
Yeah. And which I think could go either way, with, like, the whole, like, his mental illness and things like that. Because if he went in, like, knowing himself and then was forced back in the closet. Yeah. Like, that's gonna fuck up a person.
That's gonna fuck up a person.
But then the other way of that is he gets in the relationship and then he thinks that it's, like, his fault that it's not working because he's being gaslit and he's being abused. And he thinks there's something, like, fundamentally wrong with him and he can't figure out what it is. And so he's sad.
Yeah. Fucking fuck. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the next lyrics, it's actually building off of the whole mental illness, now all my stories have been told. Except for one, when he looks down at Octavia, and I would like to note that is, like, an F major chord. Yeah, from a minor. From a minor chord to a major chord when he looks at Octavia, and he's like, except for one.
That little fucking tiny baby owl.
Little baby owl, little baby.
Little that big.
That big.
We're doing the little...
that tiny.
Little minuscule.
Cuteness aggression squishes her, squishes him, squishes both of them.
Squishes all of them.
Squishes all of them.
Punches Stella.
Kicks Stella, spits on Stella. Yeah, so this owl's so fucking depressed and suicidal.
And my big thing is, like, what if he hadn't had Octavia? If he hadn't had that, because I feel like Octavia's a big lifeline for him. And later on, I think Blitz is definitely a lifeline. Yeah. But, like, before... like, how long was this mindset going on? And, like, did we have a moment where he was, like, so thoroughly suicidal and Octavia was born and he, like, held her and was like...
No, because I'm thinking the fact that he loves Octavia as much as he does is so extra incredibly sweet and makes me want to throw up / pause when you consider that, like, the whole point of this arranged marriage that he doesn't want to be in is to birth this child. So yeah, it would make so much sense for him to just be, like, so indifferent towards it, like, not caring, like, doesn't want to be with Stella, even if he isn't really sure why yet. Yeah. Like, he's not happy. And then he sees his daughter for the first time, and he just kind of, like, decides, like, I'm gonna be a better father to you than my dad was to me. Yeah. And, like, I'm not gonna hold any ill feelings towards you, despite the fact that, yeah. God, fucking fuck. I love Stolas so much.
Me too.
People don't like Stolas.
No, people hate Stolas, and I don't get it.
I'm gonna eat them. I'm gonna go fucking eat them.
I hope no one's listening to this and is like, help.
You're gonna get
So fucking change your opinion.
Yeah, so get a fucking brain. Sorry. No, not sorry, actually. Get a fucking brain.
Apology revoked.
Apology revoked.
Did you have anything to say about the chorus? All I had to say was that it, like, makes sense and that it's, like, him protecting her and all of that.
As the stars start to align. That's what I have to say about it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And that it's mostly, like, the second chorus.
Yeah.
That we have more things to say about.
The creation part?
or the one before that too, that if the 7 rings collapse, though this day could be my last. It's just, there's some very specific imagery happening there.
Yeah, and it's like, that's way too specific.
Yeah, this just goes back to what we were saying earlier about foreshadowing something happening to Stolas at some point, and probably something happening to the world that they live in.
Yes.
Eventually.
But it seems like this is about 12 years, right, before modern time.
I think that's what we said? Or, yeah.
Maybe even a little earlier, because we don't know that she's the same age at the circuit, or at Loo Loo Land.
Yes.
But at least, 12, 13 years.
Yeah, about that.
And he has been thinking about this, this has been something planned, so I'm wondering, is it, a prophecy? Is it, why does he know this very specific thing?
Yeah.
And then also when I'm gone, you'll be okay. How does he know that? Is there something in place to keep her safe? Or is it could just be a comforting thing to say, but I feel like Stolas wouldn't lie.
But he's not just gonna be like, yeah, when I die, you're gonna be devastated, and then things are gonna be...
I guess that is true.
That's, at least in terms of syllables, that wouldn't work in the song very well.
Yeah, that's true. No, I feel like it would be what I'm trying to say is I feel like it would be a very Stolas thing to have a plan.
Yes.
For specifically Octavia.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, what's the plan? And how did he plan this when she was born? And
that's true.
And then I think it just adds layer to they love each other so much.
Yeah. Also, this the foreshadowing also ties into the theory that I actually saw on Tumblr.com. So it wasn't even my initial theory, but I don't know whose it was. Sorry. But that. Octavia, or Stella is going to try and take Octavia away.
Yes.
From Stolas, and I feel like that could also...
kind of get her in the divorce kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like that also ties in, because maybe Stolas' plan that he has in place for her involves getting her away from Stella. Yes,
and that would make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Especially, I think that would tie into, if Stella... the whole thing of Stella, telling... Octavia everything and acting like she's her therapist, which we see with the way she kind of reiterates are you gonna run away with him? I feel like she could very easily turn Octavia against him, especially if he gets kidnapped, because we know he's kidnapped by Stryker, and we know that Stella hired Stryker previously.
Oh god.
So if Stella has hired him to take him, then she could very easily be your father ran away. He doesn't love you.
Fuck, that's probably exactly what's gonna fucking happen, and I'm gonna... not that. I'm gonna eat glass. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And then this next part of the chorus... it's just the fucking vocals.
Everything about it.
The animation.
So we're talking about the part that's... and when creation goes to die, you can find me...
you can find me in the sky. Sorry.
You're good. And then the next important line is upon the last day. Way too specific. When is the last day? How does he know it's coming? When is it coming?
The last day, referring to, just the last day of his... wait. When creation goes to die...
yeah.
So yeah, the last day of creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he canonically deals with prophecies and stuff, so I feel like we're not crazy for saying that this is specific and foreshadowing.
Yeah, and also, again, he proceeds, he didn't have to bring this up.
Yeah.
But he proceeds to bring it up and then say, you'll be okay. So that's my thing.
Yeah.
Is
yeah.
He has to have, he wouldn't just be saying this, I don't think.
Yeah, that's true. Little 5-year-old Octavia's just I just had a dream that you weren't in the castle. What the fuck are you talking about?
No, she's half asleep at this point. She just yawn and then she fucking goes leans into him. I'm gonna fucking...
Octavia's just wait, creation's going to die? He's what? No, good night, go to sleep.
Little blanket. Literally. And then the animation and the vocals.
Oh my...
you can go off about this. I know you want to.
The animation and the vocals. Yeah. I don't know what to say about it. It's just so good.
It is good.
The way the vocals and the animation like play off of each other as well.
And this whole sequence with the like explosion.
Yeah, that's specifically what I'm referring to. Like,
because he like it's like, I know that people listening to this have probably seen it, but his like face goes like up in the screen, and then behind him it like opens, and then he moves his arms, and as he moves his arms out in a little gay fucking like belting moment, it like explodes. Also,
like some like asteroid thing goes into this purple thing.
Yeah.
That was so descriptive. But okay, for the listeners at home, we are at 147 in Loo Loo Land. This little asteroid goes into this purple sun planet thing. This is not the right part.
No, it's not. I was like, yeah, you can skip ahead.
Okay, here it is.
Yeah. I think it's like an asteroid explodes or something.
Yeah. What are we on?
For timestamp, we're at 219.
And then creation's going to die. They're all going into the fucking sun.
All the planets.
And then explode, and he rises up in front of it, and it explodes behind him. And then the portal closes.
Yeah, but it zooms in like on his head like a spotlight.
Yeah.
That's the thing about it. It's like, And then it closes, and then immediately he's just like, okay, good night.
Good night.
All right. And then almost just the vocals as a whole, that whole song.
Yeah.
Holy
Solus
shit.
in general. His fucking vocals. Oh my god, they need to give him even more songs.
Yeah. And this next question is something we're going to get into a lot later on in this episode, but also, like, I think, like, it's scattered in a lot of different episodes.
Yeah.
But what exact powers does this man have?
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of power and he doesn't seem to use it a lot.
Yeah. And, like, so in our earlier research, we did, like, came upon the concept of a grimoire as, like, an actual, like, mythological thing. And it's just, like, a book of spells. So I don't think it gives him his power, necessarily.
I don't think so either.
I think maybe as a member of the Goetia family, he has that power, but then the book tells him how to use it, kind of thing.
I agree, too, because when we are in Seeing Stars, I believe, he doesn't have his grimoire, and Blitz is like, what, you can't memorize your fucking spells?
Yeah.
So I think that's all it is.
Excuse me, what's his phone number? Fuck you.
He does
the little pointer fingers together. Yeah. So I want to keep, like, a list of, like, the spells we've seen him use, the things we've seen him do. As of, like, this point in the series, we know we can go to the human world, obviously.
Yep.
He can go to space.
Yep, he can move things, like, around. Like, the grimoire was on a shelf in his room.
Yeah.
He pulled that.
Oh, yeah. He can, I don't know if this is related, but the way, is it in the pilot? No, it's episode 1 when he's, like, in the bath and he sees Blitz in the bubbles.
Yeah, which is something we're gonna get into.
Yeah.
But that is a power that he has.
And then also when he gets a call from Blitz, it says, like, Blitzy's calling.
Yeah.
So he has some magical mechanics rigged up there.
Yeah.
He can turn people to stone, we see at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, we don't see him do, especially at other people, which I think you noted.
Yes.
We don't see him do things directed at people very often.
Yeah, which, let's get into that. We have the next thing is the Goetia family, but honestly, if we don't have time in this episode, we don't need to even get into that.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's, like, way down.
Yeah, I think that was, like, the last thing you wrote.
Yeah.
Sorry to fully jump ahead.
No, totally fine. But at the end, he does turn someone into a stone.
Yeah.
When they're at Loo Loo Land. It's after, like, the big emotional moment with Via.
Yeah.
And he just does it, like, I don't even think he looks back. I think he does look back. 'Cause I remember he makes, like a very threatening face at the guy and then turns him to stone. Oh, yeah, you're right. But it's not, like, there's not a whole thing. It's, like,
yeah, it's just, like, a look and then boom, stone.
So it's, like, he can do it easy. I don't even think he says a spell or anything. He just does it.
He just does it.
Did
not need Blitz bodyguarding him.
That being said, I agree that he didn't need him for protection, but if he wanted to enjoy the day, he can't be looking at 24/7.
That's true.
So I think that was more what that's for, but also just because he wanted a gay little boyfriend there.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because, like, in the parts where people are, like, trying to kidnap him and shit, he does not look concerned at all. He's just like, Blitzy, hello!
Yeah.
And then when Marcy and Millie save him, he's like, why is it you guys? Where's my knights in shining armor?
Yeah, that's what he literally says. But that leads us into, like, does he... he seems to refrain his powers in general, but definitely against other people. I think the stone is the only time we see it against other people.
I think so too. Yeah.
Which is crazy because later on he's definitely in situations where he could use it. And that's also crazy for the fact of him being kidnapped.
Yeah.
Because, like, what... I feel like he is hesitant to use it against people, and that might be, like, he might have been so hesitant that he was unable. But what kind of, like, shit does Stryker have? To, like, can he counteract his magic?
And we know that Stryker has that gun that can kill demon princes. So, like, what else does he have?
Exactly.
Or even just threatening Stolas, but that could have been enough, because that's, you know, that's an oh shit moment.
Yeah, and also, freaking, he doesn't want to die for Via.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
but,
probably
and then
not even...
Stella making Via think that he ran away. Oh my god, they're gonna pull a fucking fuck on us.
Yeah,
you know?
pull a fucking Moxie episode.
Yeah, they're gonna make us fucking
crazy.
You know what's not to fully get into an episode that hasn't come out yet. But I'm wondering why Stryker is kidnapping him instead of killing him now. Because he was originally just supposed to kill him.
Yeah, and I'm assuming it probably has something to do with Stella.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to get something out of Blitz would be my guess.
Right.
It
could, maybe Stryker has his own motive of getting something out of Blitz.
Yeah, that's true. Especially their sexual tension.
Their sexual fucking tension. Yeah. Yeah, but it would make sense if Stella changed the demands for some reason, considering, like, now that the divorce is happening, I know you'll pay for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she wants him tortured and shit. She doesn't just want him killed.
Yeah.
And then, I was gonna say, which is fair. No, not fair. But fair from her viewpoint.
Yeah, and then Stryker also using the opportunity to use him against Blitz somehow is definitely a possibility, because they had a whole fucking thing. Yeah. But anyway, back to Loo Loo Land.
Yeah. So. Really, really big pivot to a tiny little detail.
Yeah.
When we're in the kitchen, this is like the 5th fucking scene, so we're really going back. They're in the kitchen of the Goetia house, and Octavia is, like, eating cereal, and it's got Mammon on the box.
Oh, yeah.
Which we originally thought was Fizz.
Yeah.
Like, even in the notes that we originally took before starting this podcast, it says Fizz on cereal box. But it's definitely Mammon.
Yeah.
Which I think really shows the similarities between the two, which we're going to get into, I believe, in Aussies.
Probably Aussies, yeah.
But I just wanted to note
I think we'll mention Mammon a few times before then.
Yeah, and we're going to get into Fizz stuff later this episode, but that specific thing I think is Aussies.
Yeah, yeah. Mammon, have we specified, Mammon is the greed guy. Just for clarification if people don't know who Mammon is. Yeah, and
if you,
like how Osmodeus is the lust guy.
Yeah. And if you look up Mammon, you'll see what we're saying in the sense of how he looks. Mm-hmm. Also, there's a lot of Fizz stuff I'm realizing that is, I think, in this episode that we are not touching upon, but we'll probably touch upon it more on Aussies, because it's like features in this episode but don't relate to anything until Aussies.
Yes.
And they're not in the notes, and we're already 40 minutes in, so we'll...
Are we really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay. We will probably get to that in another episode.
Yeah.
The next silly little note we have is that Stolas loves his silly little plants.
Yeah, he's a freaking plant dad.
Yeah, and in the circus we see that these are the same kind of plants that they had in his family home. Mm-hmm. So that raises the question of, did he raise these plants? Are these the same exact plants? Or are they just the same species? Either way, it's very cute. He pets it.
Though we do know that, to go back to Aussies, a lot of things are going to go back to Aussies. Yeah. Very important episode. But, oh no, that's not Aussies. Sorry. That's the circus, when he wakes up, drunk, next to the plants, and they're, all wilted and stuff. So, I don't know. I wouldn't assume that that's a super common occurrence for him to be that upset, I hope.
Yeah, and that also means that they're somehow tied to his feelings.
Yeah.
Whether that's environmental or if that's actually emotionally tied to him.
Yeah, well, there's the thing in the circus is where he specifically says as a kid, "Did you know that plants could hear you?" So then it's kind of implying that he was talking to the plants, and that's why they're all wilted and sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, why would you say that?
So, yeah, I don't know how often that happens, but if it does happen often, probably not the same exact plants. Mm-hmm. Which is so sad. I like to think, when you have something... And plants are a common one. But you know when you have something that is just so inexplicably tied to your mental health, where it's like you need it to be doing good or you will be so depressed. I just feel like that's their relationship there, and also he just genuinely loves them. But
I feel like too, especially like I think that Via was that for him for a while.
Yeah,
and then when Via started not liking him, he probably turned more to the plants.
Yeah.
But yeah. We have so many like little notes that don't seem as important in retrospect, but I do want to get through them.
Yeah, just a few little things.
Blitz has a number 1 bitch boss photo of himself on his desk.
That's a really important detail, actually. And I can't believe you tried to gloss over that. No, who gave that to him? Did he buy it for himself?
I think I have 3 guesses. Okay, it's definitely someone at Imp, which is like, I could... Like, maybe Millie, because she's kind of stuck up in the beginning, but I don't see her writing bitch boss on it.
Yeah, she might have.
Same with Moxie, though. Like, I could definitely see Moxie buying it, but not writing bitch boss on it.
I could see Millie writing bitch boss on it. I could see, Moxie buying it for him, and then Millie is like, bitch boss!
Yeah, that's true. I could see Luna doing it all herself, though.
Yes, I could see that.
And then I could see, even more than all of those combined, Blitz buying it for himself.
Yes.
So...
I'm not sure why this just came to me, because I don't think, in terms of the timeline, this would make any sense, in terms of when him and Veronica dated. But Veronica getting it as a gift for him just seems really funny to me.
I mean, it depends on how long they dated, which we will get into later.
Whoa.
That's Spring Broken.
Spring Broken. That is next episode.
Yes. And then he also has an interrogation board behind him.
Yeah.
In his office.
Like the red string, like the meme from freaking Always Sunny, with like the red string on the board and the
He's got one of those, which is just something to think about.
I just really want to know what he's analyzing. Probably horse shit.
Yeah. He's like trying to find the best fucking horse breed or some shit.
Yeah.
This man and horses, he's so autistic.
He's so autistic. Literally. The B in Blitz stands for Bautistic.
Autistic? Why the B?
Well, there's no A.
Yeah, but why the B?
Don't know.
Okay.
The Z stands for Zotis.
Zotistic.
The T stands for Tism. There we go.
That's true.
There we go. Anyway, moving on.
And then Stolas calls him... The whole dynamic of this. So Via's eating her fucking Mammon cereal. Mm-hmm. Stolas says, I'm going to call the only man who can fuck me. And she's like, what? And then he calls him, and he goes, he explains everything. And then, I don't remember what's exactly said, but there's the, what the fuck, Dad?
Yeah. Oh, what is it? It's
definitely language, everyone.
Yeah. Oh my god, I don't remember what it says.
Something sexual. I don't think
vulgar. Yeah, it's not important.
It's not important, but it's like...
It's just a, what the fuck, Dad? But I've thought about this. I don't think I've said this because it's just stupid. But the fact that, like, it's implied that, like, Blitz and Octavia are saying the same thing in that scene, I wonder if Blitz calls him Dad.
Probably not, but that would be really fucking funny.
Probably not.
And then the... I'll pay you. Pay me what? Money.
Done! The way he had to ask. Yeah. Pay me what? It's another fucking blowjob.
Yeah, it's also giving the vibes of, what the fuck did you just call me when he says more? Anyway, then the different reactions to when he says, we're going to Loo Loo Land, I think is really telling to me.
Yeah.
Specifically Moxie's, because Millie's excited and we understand why later.
Yeah.
Luna doesn't give a shit. She doesn't go.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
But knowing that Loo Loo Land is in Greed, and that's where Moxie grew up.
Which his reaction seems like it could be 3 different things.
Yeah.
It could be confused.
Like, what is Loo Loo Land?
Yeah. It could be unfazed, like Loo Loo Land.
Really?
Or it could be like Loo Loo Land, like dreadful.
Yeah.
And the way he says it too doesn't have like any indication of any of those. But I kind of lean a little more towards dreadful.
Yeah. You would.
I don't think, like, unfazed is definitely an option, but I don't lean towards it. I think it's more confused or dreadful. And then that gives us 2 theories. One, he was so which we know he's so fucking abused and neglected, but no one loved him so much that he never went to the theme park in his fucking ring.
Yeah, that's the theory that I lean towards, personally. But go on.
And then the other one is just he's been there before,
and didn't
maybe with his mom or something.
Yeah.
And either had a bad experience or he just doesn't want to go back to Greed.
Yeah. Which also makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it could definitely be a combination of the three.
Yeah, that's true.
And then
hashtag complex PTSD moment.
Real. And then I'll also why is he afraid of the Loo Loo Land mascot is the whole thing.
I get that it's like very Moxie to do that, but that gives me I have so many thoughts about that actually.
Yeah.
So first of all, if he had been to Loo Loo Land, there is, I guess, a chance that there's actually something there.
Yeah.
2, he's Moxie. Maybe he just fucking hates these motherfuckers, which is also fair. He would be so... That's why I'm so surprised he's not scared of Fizzer and Ozzy. Because he would be the motherfucker to be scared of the Chuck E. Cheese people.
Yeah. Arguably, he is somewhat scared of Fizz and
That's true.
Ozzy.
That's true.
But yeah.
But he still got on that stage for Millie.
He still got on that stage for Millie.
Yeah.
She's his cat.
She's his cat, which you guys won't get.
Don't worry about it.
Unless you're a screenwriter, maybe. But, yeah. And then also, him just having a lot of trauma and growing up in a mafia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised if he had experiences like that as a kid, if you know what I'm leaning towards.
Yeah.
Even if it's outside of Loo Loo Land.
Mm-hmm.
If he's just hypervigilant because, one...
Chaz.
Not even just
Not
Chaz,
even
like
just Chaz,
younger.
but yeah. Oh, yeah, younger.
Mafia people can be fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then also, like, he's hypervigilant because of experiences, and also, he's in greed.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot there. I think that a lot of my theories are very far-fetched.
I think,
But...
even if they weren't intended, they definitely make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then... On a lighter note of Moxie,
yes,
they have matching outfits.
Matching outfits, and they're slaying. I love the outfit changes throughout this show. I didn't notice all of them as much at first, but then I realized they change outfits like a lot throughout the show, which I really like. Like they have their like standard like things that they wear, but then it seems like once per episode most of the time. Yeah, they change outfits. So yeah, I like that.
Stolas and Blitz's height difference.
Stolas and Blitz's height difference of like
of like multiple feet.
Mm-hmm. Of like 2.5 of Blitz is
yeah.
If including the hat,
Yeah. And we see that in the shot when they're walking into Loo Loo Land. Yeah. That's the first time we really see it. Yeah,
which also it's I know it's only the second episode of the show, but this is like the first time we really see Blitz and Stolas interact, and I think that's important to just, I don't know, like from a viewer's perspective. Like we hear them talk in Murder Family and in the pilot, but that doesn't count because that's hashtag not my Stolas. But then this is the first time we like see them together, and I think it's a really interesting introduction to them as a dynamic.
Yeah, especially with the whole like him being like, you're so like hot on the job, whatever the fuck he says.
Yeah.
And then he goes, can it, bitch, I'm working.
Yeah. And then also, this episode being the first time we see them together, being the one with Robo Fizz.
Yeah.
And then building up to the season 1 finale, part 1, at Ozzy's with real Fizz. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that this show does a really good job of tying things together, calling back to other things, making references to future things, and just like...
It's so well written.
Like parallels from earlier episodes and later episodes. And within episodes, it's so good at like threading the needle. I
think they have to have written like the whole season first before they even started like doing shit.
Yeah,
like, there's no other way they could have done this.
They, like very meticulously storyboarded at the very least, like the whole season, and then write it out, and then like look for places to throw in little details, both in like lines, but also just in the animation.
Yeah.
A lot just in the animation.
Yes. Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's so fucking good. In the musical motifs that play. Fucking Stolas' theme.
Can you guys tell that we like the show?
I'm kind of indifferent to it, actually. Okay.
The next thing is Millie! Not a good line, actually, a very sad thing. But the thing where she's like, yeah, we went here all the time as kids when we could swing it money-wise. Makes me think of, like, I just need to know more.
I'm very much looking forward to the Millie episode that will be coming, but
we don't know when.
We don't know when.
We don't even know if it's this season.
I think it is this season. I think that's been confirmed.
Oh, okay, slay.
I don't know when this season, but I just really want to know more about her family, her other siblings, specifically Sally Mae. I want to
know way more about Sally Mae, but I also want to see her fucking seen 3 brothers.
Yeah.
That's a family of, that's 4 kids, 5, 6 people?
I think so.
No, 5 kids.
5 kids?
3 brothers, Millie, Sally Mae.
3 brothers? Is that confirmed?
That's what it said on the wiki.
Okay.
But
I believe
it could be wrong.
I don't remember. I want to see more. Millie's like, other than Luna, who we got a tiny flashback to in Seeing Stars.
I need to get Luna's history before she was at the Pound.
Yeah, I definitely want to see younger Luna. Mm-hmm. But, like, Millie's the only character we haven't gotten any kind of flashback of. Yeah. I really want to see her childhood, her teen years, growing up at the farm. And we could talk more about that also in Harvest Moon Festival, but I think it would be really nice if in, like, the end of that episode they throw in, like, a Millie and Moxie meeting. Would be really nice. I want to know how they met. I need to know. I need to know
right now.
I'm gonna eat this chair.
The chair?
I'm gonna eat it.
That's real. But yeah, the bottom note on this little section is just, we need more Millie backstory, please, where we are begging.
I'm literally on my knees begging. Whose dick do I have to suck?
Stolas.
I was gonna say Bibsy Pop.
Bibsy Pop. Bibsy Pop?
Bibsy Pop? Hey, I'm...
Bennington College, the address is...
Yeah.
Anyway, why do people want to kill Stolas so bad? Like,
drugs.
Like, he's royal, I get
he's
that.
He's royal, yes.
And in the beginning of this, he says, people want our power and our bodies.
And our bodies.
Which, like, okay, power trip, calm the fuck down.
I think money and our bodies is what he said.
Oh,
but
yeah, our money and our bodies.
Yeah. Which,
fair, but why, like, it feels like they're definitely targeting specifically Stolas, and, like, people at Loo Loo Land are, like, ready.
Yeah.
So that's my thing, it's, like, it's a big thing.
It is in the greed ring. Which makes sense. That
makes a lot of sense, actually, yeah.
The
not a mafia town people.
Yeah. Fucking Crimson. They're, like,
it would have been so fucking funny if Crimson was there. No, we should actually go back.
Rewatch and see if any of those people are there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will get back to y'all on that.
Yeah. Oh, God. Another thing, and this is mostly just speculation, there's no real backing for this, but I'm curious if, like... people, I guess they wouldn't know that Stolas is gay because him and Stella are very much like have a front up with their marriage where people think that they're like a happy couple. So people wouldn't know that he's gay.
Yeah, before pre-Aussies.
Pre-Aussies.
Which is his pre-Aussies, but
yes.
Continue,
yeah. Or pre the circus. Or no, even pre-Aussies. Okay, because he's like actively going places with Blitz and being all flirty with him. So
I think also Aussie's is a big gossip place. Like, we've seen that in newspapers, I think, from the trailer. Mm-hmm. And, like, so I feel like that definitely was, like, in newspapers and everyone knew.
Yeah, that's true.
And we haven't had any modern day stuff except for really the fucking circus, right? And Seeing Stars. But, like, as far as their relationship familially, and that was when the divorce happened. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the, stop thing, like, that kind of puts that into more light, and into a different light, because maybe, like, all that news had just come out.
What stop thing are you referring to?
The, stop screeching your pathetic woes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because maybe that is, like, coming out, and then since that's come out, like, he came out.
Yeah.
And so now he's like, that's it.
Yeah.
That happened. Mm-hmm. We're getting divorced.
Yeah.
I'm gonna live my life, which, like...
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that.
Yeah. Man. The circus. If this episode is, like... How fucking long have we been recording?
Oh, like, almost an hour.
Almost an hour. And we're, like, almost done. Are we? No, we're not.
We haven't even gone to Fizz yet.
We haven't even gone to Fizz! Oh, God. The circus is gonna be a
I think the circus is, like, 8 pages?
10 pages.
10 pages.
10 pages of notes, yeah.
In our notebook. Not even written out.
No.
In, like, the longhand like we have here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jesus. Yeah. I'm gonna kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, that's real.
So, this poses the question of, do they ever go out? because like obviously people want to kill Stolas very fucking badly, and I think people like pointed guns at Octavia a couple of times too.
I don't remember, but if that happens, then they would definitely not be going out anywhere.
Yeah.
Or Stolas would not want to take her.
Yeah, that's my thing is, like, do they go out, and then that... If they don't go out, then that means Stolas is stuck in the house with Stella all the time.
There is the line at the end of this episode when Stolas is like, what would you like to do, Octavia? And she's like, we go to fucking... I don't know what she says, but she's like, they sell weird taxidermy there.
Yeah.
So that's like a place that she knows of that she potentially goes to on occasion, at least.
That being said, though, canonically she has a phone and she has the internet.
Yeah.
So she could have just seen it. Like, I know I know of stores near where I am back home just by, like, things they post on Instagram.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe that was her, we're out of the house, can we please do this?
Yeah.
So I think it could go either way.
Yeah. And then this begs the question of, does Octavia have any friends? Which we do not think she does.
No, and I don't think she does either way, but does she have any socialization?
Right.
And, like, because we know that she canonically, like, practices magic with her dad and stuff, but, like, does she go to an actual, like, school? Probably not.
Probably not.
And then who teaches her? I'm assuming Stolas. Or, like, a tutor in the castle.
Yeah.
It poses how much she relies on both of them and how much she relies on Stella specifically.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, she doesn't have any friends, so that's the moment with Luna and seeing stars is a whole different thing. We'll get into that that episode.
Yeah.
But yeah,
way down the
canonically, she probably has no friends, which is sad.
So sad.
So Stola's taking Octavia to the circus when she was a little kid, just like when he was a little kid. I know it was Loo Loo Land, so it was different.
Yeah.
Which I think was probably him trying to be like, my dad just took me to the circus, I'm going to take you to the circus and a theme park.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to be better than his dad. But neither of them, when they were kids, wanted to be there.
No.
But he's trying his best.
He's trying his best.
Yeah. And then going back to the fronting thing that you were talking about, there's a picture of Stolas, Stella, and Via when Via's little at Loo Loo Land, which we did talk about a little bit. But I just want to talk about the front more and what that means.
Yeah.
Because if they have the front of like a happy family, which they do in that picture, and then they do later on in Aussie's, because the way they're talking about them, it seems like that's the public idea. So no one knows that Stolas is getting abused.
Nope.
And technically we don't know how he's getting abused. It's just implied that he's been hit before.
We know that she's very much verbally abusive.
Yeah. Like we know that.
We know that. And we know... the whole basis of their relationship was to have a kid.
Yeah.
Which required sex that he
did
not want to be having.
Canonically was awful at and didn't want
Canonically staring at the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is traumatic, but...
Yeah.
Arguably... No, it's definitely abusive, but arguably because he probably did consent.
Right. Just the whole situation was against his will.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Stella would be that kind.
Oh no.
About it. Otherwise, but
I'm sure it was not a good situation outside of the fact of if he consented or not.
Yes.
But yeah.
And no one knows any of this that's going on.
And also there's we know canonically she throws shit around the house when she's angry. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's been hit a lot. Including
people. She threw a little imp servant at him.
Yeah,
You can fuck this one too.
We need to remember to talk about the imp servants next episode.
Yeah.
Sorry, just giving the note to you.
I think we have a lot of notes on that. I don't remember which episode, but for one episode in particular. I think Harvest Moon.
Or it's Seeing Stars.
Or Seeing Stars.
In the first scene.
Seeing Stars in the first scene.
Move out.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
But anyway. And so that leads to the question of, did Stolas know he was getting abused? Or did he just think this was a normal relationship? Or did he think it was his fault? And that goes back to did he think there was something fundamentally wrong with him?
Yeah. And regardless of what he does think, he definitely feels the obligation to put on a happy face in the public eye. Because, I am royalty, this is my responsibility.
And I'd be willing to say also in front of Via.
Yes.
Because there's no way that she's seen this fighting, because this fighting does canonically happen the whole time. And there's no way that she grew up seeing this, and she has such a shift to her dad.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. So I think he probably kept it under wraps pretty well, like, from her.
Meanwhile, Stella, probably the older and older Octavia gets, the more she's, like, just dumping stuff on her.
Right, so that's probably exactly why Via feels that way.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The next note is about Blitz and the balloon cart.
Oh my god. We did not notice this for the longest fucking time.
We're so stupid.
We're so... Because, like... okay, in our defense, the first time you watch the show, it doesn't mean fucking anything at all. Just seeing, like, Blitz at the balloon cart in the flashback.
It makes sense because he worked at the circus, so, like...
Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, I think we knew by then that he worked at the circus. We definitely saw the pictures in his office. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, we see, like, he says after the flashback, he's like, I hate that fucking clown. And then we see later in the episode that, like, he does, in fact, hate that fucking clown. Yeah. It doesn't mean anything, but we have watched this episode so many times, and it was not until the most recent watch that we were like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I haven't watched this episode multiple... This was only my second watch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think this was maybe only my third, because I watched it on my own, and then I watched it with you and with our friend group. Yeah. And then, third...
I don't think we watched it in our rewatch.
I don't think so.
The first original rewatch.
Oh god, yeah. I think we just watched from Truth Seekers onwards.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Truth Seekers.
Truth Seekers.
Anyway,
yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to take this one since you did all the math here.
Okay, yeah. So assuming that in this, and this is the flashback where we see Octavia like at like the circus part of Loo Loo Land and like seeing like the Robo Fizz. Is it Robo Fizz or is it Real Fizz? Do you remember?
I think it's Robo. Because I think that's where we see the contract.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Which is something we'll get into later.
Yeah, Robo Fizz, and Octavia's there, and we're estimating here, but looks to be about 5 years old. Comparing her to the other childhood flashbacks we've seen of like Moxie and then Blitz and Stolas, we're guessing around 5 years old, give or take, a year or so. And she's 17 in present day. So that would make this flashback 12 years ago.
Yeah, give or take.
Give or take, yes. And then we also know from other, give or take mathematics that in present day Blitz is about, how old is he now? 35. Roughly. Someone
breaking into my dorm room anyway.
Roughly 35 in present day, so 12 years ago he'd be about 23. With the balloon cart at Fizz's, Robo Fizz's show at Loo Loo Land. And he has a little balloon cart and he's wearing like clown makeup, not happy to be there, very upset, looking very bitter. And then, what does that say? Fizzbot says shipped straight from Ozzy's in the flashback. It implies that Fizz was already working for Ozzy 12 years ago. Like we know him to be today. But even 12 years ago. Which implies that he got his, like, big break, like, very early. Like, like, late teens, maybe early 20s, Mm-hmm. It could have been, like, shortly before this, but...
Yeah, but it was definitely before this, and I think that's... Yes. I think at least a couple of years before it, I would guess, just because, like, he had to get his big break, get scouted by Mam, which we'll talk about later, I think, during Aussies. Yeah. Because we're not going to have time this episode.
No.
But... He would have, in our theory, he would have had to get scouted and then get famous at Aussies and then get Robo Fizzes made and, like, be that popular. So it has to be significantly enough time between then.
I'm really curious how Blitz ended up working at Loo Loo Land with the Robo Fizz. I'm thinking it was a matter of he wanted to go with Fizz.
Yeah.
But they, like, wouldn't let him. Maybe even Fizz didn't want him there at that point.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other can of worms.
I would be willing to bet that, too. And also, maybe he just needed, like, a job, and that was just an in. Like, they were like, oh, you used to be Fizz's partner, we'll hire you.
Yeah. And maybe Fizz was like, oh, you can't come to Aussies with me, but we have a great job for you at Loo Loo Land.
Yeah,
and then it's like a balloon
like
cart, and then I hate that fucking clown.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably exactly how it was. But I think the biggest takeaway from this is that their partner show ended at a minimum 12 years ago. So
Blitz and
Fizz's.
Blitz and Fizz's partner show, yeah.
So that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So that makes...
And that's a minimum.
Yeah.
Like, could have been
way longer.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me question, how long was the Imp Twins?
Mm-hmm.
How long was the solo show? And I feel like neither of those were probably that long.
Right. I mean, the solo show was one night only.
Yeah.
Blitz's solo show, for clarification.
Yes. And then the Imp Twins, like, it definitely was probably a couple of years, I would guess.
Yeah.
But he's younger in that. Mm-hmm. But it poses the question of how long has Imp been around?
Yeah.
Because I think in like, we were like, oh, maybe like a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm kind of double thinking that.
Yeah. Because it could have been more.
Yeah, like a lot more.
A lot more. Like 12 years more.
Yeah. So that's definitely something to think about.
This all falls into our timeline shenanigans.
Yes, which I think...
Sorry, I just saw the notes. You wrote Fizz cracks knuckles. And then it's just a shit ton of bullet points.
I have so much to say about Fizz. We're probably not going to get through all of this. But...
You can take the lead on this.
I feel like I've took the lead the whole episode. Are you sure?
Let me pull it up on my phone and see if there's anything specific that I want to specifically touch on. But you can take.
Yeah,
you can start
I'll get started on it. There's the line of, I guess the kitties are still running away from you from the Robo-Fizz. Mm-hmm. Which probably just means that he wasn't a good clown or like good at his job as the balloon person.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there could be more there. So I just wanted to note it.
Yeah.
Because like, that's very specific. Running away is very specific.
Yeah. Even if it was just like one specific instance.
Yeah.
That he like holds against Blitz. And like uses against him. Mm-hmm. I think that's very possible. You were really getting into the scientifics of the robot AI.
Yeah. Well, no. I think about it a lot.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Because how does he know so much about him? And because given that it was 12 years ago, that's so much time. Like a robot, like a fucking, not even that a Chuck E. Cheese robot is smart enough to remember anyone, but like something of that quality would not have a memory span that long.
I think we have to assume that this robot has the same memories and like feelings as actual Fizz.
Yeah, so that's the two things.
Yeah.
There's the two possibilities. One, it's AI, which I feel like is also possible.
Yeah.
And two is that it has the same thoughts and feelings as Fizz, which is, why would they do that?
I guess to be like more authentic of an experience.
Yeah, but then the other thing with that is that they canonically are sold to people for sex. So that's a whole thing.
Canonically? Sold to people for sex?
Yeah, in Aussies.
When?
In the beginning of Aussies, when they're like the freaks that buy them, and the guy's like, I have 4.
Oh,
and he's like, keep that guy far away from me.
Yes.
So with that would be weird, but would be kind of a power control thing from Aussie / Mammon, which is a whole thing we'll get into at another point, probably in Aussies. But yeah. So those are the two things of the two different types of tech that the Fizzbots could be, and it's fucking me up.
The idea that the Fizzbots have the same like thoughts and feelings and everything as Fizz is like that's what makes the most sense to me, just like logically from how we see Robo-Fizz act towards Blitz.
Yes.
And like how much he knows about him. But it also with the canonically being used for sex thing, are these Fizzbots just talking shit about Blitz to anyone who will fuck them?
You're so much better in bed.
Imagine like Verosika getting a Fizzbot and is just like...
No, because Verosika canonically works at Aussies.
Yeah.
So she's definitely handled the Fizzbots before.
Yeah. Or does she work there, or is she just doing like a show there that night?
Either way, she's done work there.
Yeah.
So she's, and I'm very willing to bet she's been in contact with a Fizzbot before. Whether it was probably not for sex, but
just the mental image of Verosika having a good time with a Fizzbot, and then it's just like, you're so much better than Blitzo, and she's like, what? And then she's like, hang on, Blitz reciprocated with you?
They start getting recalled. Who is Blitzo? Which doesn't lead us in, but I was just saying Blitzo. But the next thing I have is does anybody love you, Blitzo?
Yeah.
And it's like Blitz. Oh, like the O is very enunciated and like,
And, like, I think it always is with Fizz. And with a lot of people who refer to him as Blitzo. So he's like, Blitzo.
Yeah.
But...
Which, again, feeds into the AI, but also, like a combination of the two. Mm-hmm. Because if it was programmed with Fizz's thoughts and feelings before...
Right.
When it was made 12 years ago...
Right.
It wouldn't know that Blitz doesn't go by Blitzo anymore.
Right, so it wouldn't be so, like, condescending about it or whatever.
So that's what makes me think either AI or AI in the sense of, like, it's still getting his thoughts and feelings actively, which is crazy.
Ooh, that's crazy. I want to know if... Because the Fizzbots, they're, like, cyborg-y. Mm-hmm. Like, they're robots.
Yeah.
But, like, how do we think Fizz losing his limbs is related to that? Do we think he lost his limbs and then they made the robots based off of that? Do we think they made the robots and then they were like, hey, you should look like the robots? That's crazy, right? But, like...
I would be willing to bet it's the second one.
Right? Like,
I think that's definitely an Aussie topic.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But I agree.
There's just... Yeah, like, I really... The whole him losing his limbs thing in the first place, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
It's crazy. I need to know how and why that happened.
I need to see more of Mammon because it might just be a branding thing.
Yeah. Another form of branding, which is so fucked.
So fucked.
You're gonna hear us talk absolute shit about Fizz, but I think we should note that homie's had a hard life.
Oh yeah.
Not that that's also us defending the things that we believe
yeah
and headcanon him to have done.
That'll be me when I'm talking about Chaz and Chaz's backstory, but also Chaz is like the worst person ever.
Yeah. Also, does anybody love you, Blitzo? And then Blitz immediately just going, no, but I'm really good with guns now.
Dance, bitch.
That
gets recalled in my mind all the fucking time. That dance bitch part, because he goes dance, bitch, and then it pans over to the Robo Fizz, and he's just fucking doing like cartwheels.
Yeah,
and it's so fucking funny.
So funny.
It's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
And then the fucking what a mouth when he catches it. They I know that the majority of the fandom doesn't think they did.
Do they really not?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The majority of, like, the fan theory I've seen and, like, edits and, like, I am really into the online fandom.
Yeah.
Not in the way that you are, like, on Tumblr and things, because I'm not on that.
Yeah, I don't even...
It scares me.
It scares me, too. I only look into it every once in a while, and I don't, like, follow anyone who's into it or anything.
But as far as, like... actual, like, thorough, like, written and video essay fan theories, and then stuff on TikTok and Instagram, I'd say the majority of stuff that at least I've come in contact with is not relationship-based.
Just crazy.
It's like, they say best friends or childhood friends.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Especially with the clip from the trailer, which maybe not as many people have seen.
That's very possible, and I think also a lot of this was released before.
Yes. There's a lot of romantic tension, sexual tension. Oh, what a mouth.
But Oh, What a Mouth is definitely, like, even maybe not dated, but, like, there's sexual tension.
There's sexual tension, yeah.
Like, but I think it's definitely dated because he's, like, reminiscing on it.
Yeah.
Oh, what a mouth.
Oh, what a mouth.
Which means he has literally the same physical abilities, probably, too. Which is something.
Yeah.
That's something. And so that just brings up all the questions of how long did they date? When did they date? When Fizz started, Blitz started working at Loo Loo Land with Robo Fizz, and Fizz started working on Aussies. Was there an overlap? Because they were definitely not an open thing, I feel like. They were definitely an underground relationship. So were they, like, dating, and then Aussie started dating Fizz? And was there an overlap? Did he cheat? Did he leave Blitz for Aussie?
I was gonna say, and I think you have more thoughts on this than I do, but I agree, and we'll get into this in Aussies.
Yes, sorry we keep saying that.
there's like a possibly toxic dynamic between Aussie and Fizz. So if it was a matter of like Aussie pulling Fizz away from Blitz, and that's at least part of what happened between them. Not that Fizz shouldn't take accountability for things that happened.
Yeah,
but I think of all of the characters that It's tough to say because we have a lot of things that are headcanons.
Yes.
But they, as far as we know, did not actually happen. And going based off of what is canon right now, I think it's very possible that they'll end up trying to redeem Fizz.
Yes, which I am okay with seeing them try to do.
Yes.
I
think it'd be very interesting.
I don't know if I will be okay with it, period. Mm-hmm. But, like, I don't know if I'll agree with it.
Yeah.
But I think that I would like to see it because I think there's a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Like, I think if they did it right,
yeah,
that he could be redeemed.
And we don't know the full story. The next episode could send all of our headcanons come crashing to the ground.
That's
it's like,
true.
Actually, Blitz fucked everything up, and Fizz is perfect and has never done anything wrong.
But a lot of the things that we think are definitely toxic on the Fizz side, and I don't think we have time to get into this frickin' right now. We're at an hour and 15.
Yeah.
But maybe we could do like a bonus episode if people want to hear, because I have so many thoughts.
Yeah.
On just Blitz's romantic history.
Yeah.
It could be a whole episode.
It could be.
So maybe that can be the question of the week, even though it's not fun.
Yeah.
Or question of the episode.
But hell of a Q&A. Yeah.
Could be, let's form this. Like, would you like to see an episode that's just me and Audie talking about fucking Blitz's romantic history and our headcanons on it, because it's a lot.
And it's very headcanon based.
Yes, which is not the majority of this so far, I think.
Yes,
so.
It is based in canon evidence, but, you know.
And I will go through every single piece of evidence.
Yes, yeah.
So if you want that to happen, let us know. We'll make that a poll, too, so you don't have to actually reach out to us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We are almost at the end of this. We've almost done it.
Let's wrap this up. The last couple of scenes, the Stolas and Octavia scenes.
Whoa, which makes me fucking crazy. Do you mind if I...
Yes, go ahead.
So, children of divorce, am I right?
I put hashtag children of divorce.
I saw that. The whole conversation with Stolas trying to, like, explain his relationship with Stella to Octavia. And how he's trying to like explain things to her without like ruining her perception of her parents,
especially of Stella.
Which is so fucked when you consider that Stella is definitely not making the same effort. Definitely talking shit about Stolas left and right, but Stolas even now is still trying to be like, let's see, your mother and I, it's just it's not, and he's just like dancing around it, and then he's just like, I'm sorry, I don't have the words, which is just so...
Which is, one, making an effort not to trauma dump on your child, which is great.
Yeah.
Two, I'd be willing to bet that Stolas isn't in an emotionally available enough of a place, like not in his relationship with Via, but with himself, that he's able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because he's probably done like a lot of shoving his feelings down.
I feel like it's, and I feel like he, at this stage, he hasn't fully, like, come to terms with the fact that he's really a victim in this situation. I'm
so willing to bet that someone would say, like, wait, you were abused, and he'd be like, me?
Abused?
Abused?
Yeah.
What the fuck did you just call me?
Because it's not till the circus where we see him finally, be done with it.
Yeah.
Other than, after him and Blitz have sex for the first time, and he's like, that was the sound of a fucking divorce. Other than that.
Yeah.
And really, he seems like, he is still having sex with Blitz regularly, but he does seem like guilty that it happened.
Yeah.
And he's not come to terms with the fact that like he deserves better. Until the circus where he's like, we're getting the divorce.
Yeah. I also do wonder how that ties into his sexuality.
Yeah. Yeah, and then just the home doesn't feel like home anymore line.
You Octavia can take this one.
It just hurts a lot, and it hits a lot. And it's a lot. I
think the full line is, I just want to go home, but home doesn't even feel like home anymore.
Yeah, it's just so sad, and it's so... One thing they do really fucking well in this show is writing a child a fucking divorce. Yeah. Octavia is such a good character.
What did you go through in your childhood?
Vivsy Pop, are you okay?
Vivsy Pop, do you need a hug?
Do you want to talk about...
I know they say write what you know, but girly.
Holy shit. Yeah, and then I think the only other thing we had is, which we already kind of talked about, is his powers where he turns bitches to stone.
Yeah, which we don't need to talk about. So, that's the episode.
Whoa, we did it!
Definitely didn't talk about a lot of stuff, I realized, because I just wrote these notes. We normally write these, like, a week in advance.
Yeah, because we have our little notebook where we have over 30 pages of handwritten notes about the whole show. And then what we did for the first episode was we sat down together and we compiled the notes for the pilot and Murder Family, and we, like, wrote them all out.
Yes.
Together, and then that just did not
happen this week. It's been so crazy. So I wrote these this morning, and so we forgot a lot of stuff, but I will work it into the other episodes. It's mainly Fizz stuff.
Yeah, which we were gonna work in other places anyway, so yeah, that's it. That's Loo Loo Land. What a fucking episode.
What an episode.
God, what a mouth.
God, what a mouth. If you want to see more from us in general in our lives and in the podcast and Audie's amazing Canva freaking work and our TikTok videos and stuff, the best place to find all of that would be the Instagram.
AA Discussions. At AA Discussions on Instagram.
Yeah. And so, you can reach out to us there, too, if you have any questions or if you want us to talk about anything specific. Any bonus episode ideas, anything like that.
Yeah. After the last episode, we put the question of the week, or the Helluva Q&A on our story. So
yes,
you can also respond to it
with
there.
A reference picture. So, yeah, I definitely recommend, if you like the podcast, following the Instagram.
Yeah.
We'll also let you know if we're, like, releasing a bonus or if we have to skip a week for whatever reason, which I don't think will happen, but things like that. It's good to follow it.
When it comes to later this summer after our semester ends, when we're figuring out what the fuck we're doing with this podcast.
When we're across the country.
Across the coast.
Across the coast.
Not even. Halfway across the coast.
I feel like they're far. They're significantly far enough.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
And we'll let you know here, but also on the Instagram.
Yes. And
I think that's it.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
We hope
you enjoyed it. And
stay homosexual.